welcome to Tuesdays with the Pilgrim, as we continue our journey with Christian in John Bunyan's Pilgrim's Progress. So today we're going to read Chapter 3, Part 9, and Chapter 4, Part 1. Let's get to it. Chapter 3, Part 9. The Man with the Terrifying Dream. So he took Christian by the hand again, and led him into a bedroom where someone was getting out of bed. As the man got dressed, he shook and trembled. Then Christian asked, "Why is this man trembling?" Interpreter then told the man to explain to Christian why he was trembling. So the man said, "Last night while I was sleeping, I dreamed, and suddenly the sky became completely black. The thunder roared and the lightning flashed in such a frightening way that I was filled with dread. Then I looked up and saw the clouds moving at an unusual speed. Next I heard a great trumpet blast and saw a man sitting upon a cloud, accompanied by the hosts of heaven. They were all arrayed in flames of fire, and the heavens were aflame as well. Then I heard a voice saying, 'Arise, you dead, and come to judgment.' With that the rocks split, the graves opened, and the dead within them came forth. Some of them were very glad and looked to the heavens, while others tried to hide themselves under the mountains. Then I saw the man seated upon the cloud open the book, and he commanded the world to draw near. Yet because of the fierce flame that issued forth from him, the dead were set at a distance from him, like the span between a judge and those he's about to sentence. I heard it also proclaimed to those accompanying the man on the cloud, 'Gather together the tares, the chaff, and the stubble, and cast them into the burning lake.' And with that a bottomless pit opened near where I stood. From the mouth of the pit spewed forth great amounts of smoke, coals of fire, and hideous noises. It was also commanded, 'Gather my wheat into my barn.' Then I saw many caught up and carried away in the clouds, but I was left behind. I looked for a place to hide myself, but I was unable to do so, because the man who sat on the cloud constantly kept his eye upon me. My sins also came to my mind, and my conscience accused me from every direction. After this, I awoke from my sleep." "But what was it that made you so afraid of this sight?" Christian asked. "Why, I thought that the day of judgment had come, and that I was not ready for it. What frightened me most, however, was that the angels gathered some, but left me behind. Also the pit of hell opened its mouth right at my feet, and my conscience continued to afflict me. It seemed that the judge always had his eye upon me, his face full of indignation." Then Interpreter asked Christian, "Have you paid close attention to all these things?" "Yes, and they will fill me with both hope and fear," said Christian. "Well, keep all these things in your mind, so that they may be a goad to your sides, and prod you forward in the way you must go." Then Christian tightened his belt and began to make preparations for his journey. So Interpreter blessed him, saying, "May the Comforter always be with you, dear Christian, to guide you in the way that leads to the city." So Christian went on his way, singing, "Here I have seen things rare and profitable, things pleasant yet awesome, to make me stable. What I have begun to take in hand, let me then think on and understand. That I have been shown truth, let me be thankful, O good Interpreter, to thee." Chapter 4, Part 1. Christian reaches the cross. Now I could see in my dream that the highway Christian was to travel was protected on either side by a wall, and the wall was called salvation. Burdened Christian began to run up the highway, but not without great difficulty because of the load he was carrying on his back. He ran this way until he came to a place somewhat higher ground, where there stood a cross. A little way down from there was an open grave. And I saw in my dream that just as Christian approached the cross, his burden came loose from his shoulders and fell from his back. It began to roll downward until it tumbled into the open grave to be seen no more. After this, Christian was glad and light. He exclaimed with a joyful heart, "Through his sorrows he has given me rest. Through his death he has given me life." Then he stood still for a while to examine and ponder the cross, for it was very surprising to him that the sight of the cross alone had brought him complete deliverance from his burden. So he continued to look and watch until springs of tears welled up in his eyes and came pouring down his cheeks. Then, as he stood watching and weeping, 3 shining ones suddenly appeared and greeted him. "Be at peace," the first announced. "Your sins are forgiven." The second one stripped off his tattered clothing and dressed him in bright new garments. After this, the third one set a mark upon his forehead and handed him a scroll with a seal on it. He directed Christian to study the scroll as he traveled and to present it upon his arrival at the celestial gate. Then they left Christian, and he leaped for joy 3 times as he went away singing, "I came this far burdened with my sin, no nothing could ease the grief I was in. Until I came here, what a place is this? Must here be the beginning of my bliss? Must here the burden fall off my back? Must here the cords that bound me begin to crack? Blessed cross, blessed grave, blessed rather be the man who there was put to shame for me." And that ends Chapter 4, Part 1. So be sure to tune in next Tuesday for Chapter 4, Parts 2 and 3, as we continue to journey with Christian and follow the Pilgrim's progress. Until then, take care, stay safe, and God bless.